Hi, Cliff Sewell, Magical Mindset Podcast. Just wanted to give you a bit of a headline is that on the podcast, we're going to have lots of exciting guests, and that's going to be coming to you on a weekly basis, but also on a very regular basis. It's going to be quite a lot of content of just me sat chatting to you, both in the studio, both out and about. Why am I doing that? Because achievement and mindset is consistency. It's every day. I want to just share my everyday thoughts, my ups, my downs, how I've learned, how I still learn, how I'm still moving forward. And I genuinely hope by sharing that content on a daily, weekly basis, you'll see the real Cliff Sewell, not just a guy in a studio with guests, but somebody who's living a life, who's taught himself that magical mindset. And I'm hoping just by those little snippets of bit of information, those individual podcasts, I'll be able to give you that bit of advice, that bit of inspiration, that bit of help for you to go and create your own magical mindset. Hi, Cliff Sewell again. Welcome to the Magical Mindset. What I'm going to talk about today is a range of different things, but mainly what I'm going to focus on is trying to get across how we get started with change, how we get started with creating a new life, a new plan, creating what we would see as a more successful, a happier, whatever, about changing life. Because the Magical Mindset podcast we have lots of content from myself and lots of guests on here. We delve into their stories, but what we really always trying to focus on is that change process they went through. No matter where they were or what happened, how did they create a plan for a future, a better future, a more enjoyable future, a happier future? The words around success and happiness are all very personal, but it's about how to get started. And one of the key things I think within a lot of self-development and a lot of motivation that I think gets missed. It's just a personal view, gets missed. And I certainly missed it for a number of years. And it's the old phrase of letting go. Now, let me explain what I mean by letting go. All of us, wherever we are, whether we are in a great place or whether we're in a really dark place or whether we're thinking about our childhood, we carry a whole load of baggage about who we are, what we think of ourselves, and our background. And that can be the real problem in creating a new future. Because I talk to lots of people, whether it be about creating a new business, creating a better private life, a personal life, or creating more success, more happiness. And they are absolutely committed, determined, obsessed in doing that, but just keep going back and going back and going back and going back and cannot get themselves on a path to success or happiness. And they talk about the habits, they talk about creating this, and I've done this and I've done that. But what's really clear for a lot of people, and me, and I'll talk about that in a moment, is that they really struggle in letting go. And what I mean by letting go is wherever you are now, you are a creation of your past. Now, that could be childhood. That could be coming out of childhood in your early career or lives. It could be great relationships or really difficult relationships. It could be really bad work you've done, a bad job you've had, or a bad career you've had, or for some people, a horrific situation that comes across them in life. But what they do, and what I did, they carry their past with them, and then that defines them as they are today. Because there is no doubt, and people can question this, but I'm afraid it's true. You can make an instantaneous decision right now to be somebody else, to think differently, to be different, to look different, to see the future differently. And you can. People say, no, you can't. I say, well, no, it's in your head. It's in your thoughts. You can create a new version of you right now. But it's not easy. I accept that. There's lots of self-help development out there that gives this concept that it's very easy to create a new you overnight. It's not. And that's something I'm always talking about on the podcast, is that I know creating a new you is possible. I know a great new life is possible. I know you can leave the past behind. I know why, because I've done it. But I also acknowledge when I talk to people, and the more we do this, I also acknowledge that it doesn't it's not easy. And I'm afraid I don't have the golden ticket to make it easier overnight. Sometimes it's tough. So this episode that I'm talking about now may feel a little bit hard. It may feel a little bit demotivating. It may even feel a little bit negative. But as I go forward, hopefully you'll see the point and we can move in a more positive way. Because I think we need to acknowledge that it's there is a process to going through it, and one of the key parts of the process is letting go. Let me talk a little bit about my story and how I can show a real life example. I came out of school, did all those things. I'm sure you'll have heard about it, and I created the success. I did. I got there. I whether you class millionaire status as success, whether you class all the trappings of that I had. People looked at me as an incredibly successful businessman. I was at the top of my game. I ran a super successful business. I was the leader, and I was classed as externally super successful. But it all went very wrong. And it went wrong for a number of reasons that I talk about. And you can see whether it be alcohol, whether it be mental challenges, but it was about my habits and my behaviors. But then, as I went forward, I made the very definite decision that I wanted a new life and that I was going to create a new life and I was going to create something I was passionate about. And I started on that journey, but it didn't go to plan straight away. But now I look back, hindsight is there's a real clear reason for that. I wasn't letting go. Now, I had two strange situations going on in my head. I had the memory of super success. But at the same time, I had the memory of absolute failure. And they clashed together all the time. I'd become super successful and it had all gone very wrong. So somewhere inside me, I knew I could succeed, but all I kept thinking about was, but I failed, but I failed, but I failed. And that was a absolute conflict for me. And I had to work really, and I had to find a way of getting through that. I'm sure there'll be situations where you, as you're looking at developing your life now, you will probably have tried in the past and been super motivated to go on a diet, to get fit, to get a new job, to go and make more money, to be a better partner, to go and follow one of your life dreams, because we're always doing it. But then, for all sorts of reasons, it didn't happen, and then comes the failure. And then it becomes really hard to get going again. I talk about alcohol. Trying to, when I realized I needed to stop drinking, I tried many, many times. But what is really true, and I get very frustrated when I see posts on social media and LinkedIn, whatever, saying, if you stop drinking for 30 days, the world will be bubble gum and flowers. It won't. It's not. I can tell you, I'd stopped drinking a number of times for 30, 40, 60 days and then went back. Every time you fail, it gets harder the next time. But what you have to do is get over yourself and let go, because every time you've tried and it's not worked, it's not a failure. And that's really important. You have to let go of that failure. Every time you have tried to do something and it's not worked, please let go of your thought of it being a failure. It wasn't. It was a journey you were on where you've learned something else about yourself. You will have learned something. You have to delve deep sometimes to find out what it is you've learned, but you will have learned something. Even if you've only learned that's not the way to do it. And that's not failure. That you give yourself credit and go, yeah, I had a good go at that one, but that maybe is not the right way. I went down that career path, but didn't quite work. But that's not a failure. It's just maybe not the right thing for me. And I always say failure is never failure until you quit. There's lots of phrases around like that are just banded around, but it's really, really true. Everything I try, as long as I don't quit, I don't class it as failure. I go, there's another learning lesson. And I do this now for a living. I'm podcasting, I coach, I speak about motivation, about mindset, about excellence, and about creating a better life. I don't get it right all the time. But I don't every time I get it wrong, I don't think I've failed. I think, I've learned something else, but do you know what? I'm in the game. I'm still in the game and I'm still doing it and I'm still trying and I'm still working and I'm still pushing. So what we have to do is learn to let go. And we just have to acknowledge where are we right now, and then just take a moment to look at the past and go, right, that's not what, who, or how I want to be. It doesn't matter how you got there, because at that moment when you're deciding that doesn't matter, but you just say, I don't want to be that person anymore. And you then have to create this new vision of who you are, who you want to be. Now, that is what people find really hard, creating that new vision, that new career, that new relationship, that new passion. But what's really true, that's not that hard. We think it's hard. I like to use my life as an example because it's real and I can talk openly and genuinely about it. I built a recruitment business, super successful recruitment business. When I started on this journey of self-help, development, motivation, I wrote a book, and what I do now, I had no platform to start from. And hey, let's be clear here. When you run businesses and it's super successful, but if it goes wrong, the clarity is there's debt. There are problems. You owe people money because it's gone wrong, and you've got to find a way through that. You have to acknowledge that you're going to get a load of, if you're a business person, it goes wrong, even private, if it goes wrong, there will be problems when it goes wrong. You have to own them, acknowledge them like I had to do. And I still, as I build this business, there's still legacy of the challenges of the business I have in the past. I'm not ashamed of it. I never hide from it. And I will continue to keep working to resolve it. And we're really making great strides now. But what I got to was, I can build another recruitment business and I can go and do that and I can go and make a load of money and pay everything off and buy a new house again and have a new car. But what I really did was that I stopped and I stopped myself. I thought, no, that is not my passion. That is not what I want to do. Because I'd worked really hard over a number of years about getting on the right journey to fix myself. I always say, none of us are ever completely fixed in a journey we're on. It's always a journey. There's always things to do. There's always new work to do. It is that every day, every day, every day. But I'd got myself into a really good place, and I'd got myself where I was functioning really well every day. I'd created some super habits. I'd created some super structure, and I'd really got my mind into a really good place of the future. I knew I could take control. I knew I could go forwards. That was through a lot of hard work, but I got there. But then I came to that crossroads of, right, okay, now what do you do? Because you've got to make money. You've got to make a living. You've got to be successful again. Now I could have, and the easy path for me would have gone straight back into the recruitment world, created an exec recruitment business and built that again. And I could have done that. And that, without doubt, would have been an easier journey financially and perceived external success. But that wasn't me. Going through my transformation and my journey of getting myself right and understanding and development and getting my mindset right and my health right and my mentality right, I realized that was my passion. That wasn't work for me. It was hard, but it wasn't work for me. It was something I thoroughly enjoyed doing. And then it became very clear to me that that is what it was all about for me. I genuinely want to create content. I genuinely want to create podcasts, material, books, social media, about the journey of self-development, about mindset, and really, really finding the way forward. And I want to share that. Let's be really frank here. Do I want to make money about it? Of course I do. I've got bills to pay. There's debt to cover. Yeah, I get it. Of course it is. But what really, really landed with me, and about this is about letting go, was I was doing something I genuinely loved doing. I love doing this. I love the podcast. I love speaking. And I use the word love, and it's real. I am so passionate about it. Why? Because I genuinely believe I'm making a difference. I genuinely believe, because of the feedback I get and the emotion I get back from people, is that I am making a difference to a number of people. I don't know what percentage of people who listen to me or watch me get that benefit, but I know some do. And the more I do this, the more I enjoy it, the more passionate I am. So why do I go on about that? Because the point I'm making about letting go, I built a super successful business that went catastrophically wrong. And then I had a mindset that went really, really wrong. But I came through the other side. And what I had to do, I had to let go of who I thought of myself, who I saw myself in a morning. I had to let go of, yes, it went wrong, Cliff, but I'm still here and I'm still succeeding. So I let go. And I had to work hard at that. Now, what I'm saying to you is that you also have to let go of the past. You can't ignore it. You can't dismiss it completely from your mind because that's not possible. But you have to let go of what it means to you. You have to let go of how it defines you today. It is what it is. You did what you did, you acted how you did, and the results were the results. But what you can do is create a process in your own mind of really moving forwards. But to do that, you have then got some hard decisions to make. The hard decisions are if you continue moving forwards along the same path, in the same job, in the same group of friends, in the same environment, and you want to be different, it's going to be almost impossible. And so this is again where moving forwards and creating a right mindset and creating success and letting go is really positive, but it's not all sunshine. There are some challenges along the way. We'll talk about relation. If you want to be a different person and you're not comfortable where you are with your life now, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We all go through that. But if you then decide you want to move forwards, that's excellent. Great news. You've then got to own the past, let go of the past of what it was, and then move forwards. But as you move forwards, you've got to let go of some other things. You've got to let go, I'm really sorry to say this, of some of the environments you spend your time in. I used to drink a lot. I was an alcoholic, right? So it goes without saying, I had lots of friends, really, really good friends, great company. We had great laughs, great fun, but they were in pubs. Now, I had to accept, I had to let that go. Now, I didn't fall out with anybody. I didn't text and WhatsApp and ring everyone and go, right, I'm not going to be your friend anymore because I'm sober. No, I just had to stop going to the pub. I had to let that go. But what that meant is that I let go of some of those relationships. And I had to, because I knew there was more in my life that I wanted to achieve. If somebody wants to go to the pub, if somebody wants to go to drink and saying that, that's absolutely fine by me. I am not saying that's wrong. And you will have to let go of some things. It's not about saying other people are wrong or other situations are wrong. It's about what's right for you. Letting go of certain things opens you up to getting the right things for you. And that's part of the journey. So it's about letting go of the past, realizing what the past was, realizing where you were, getting some new plans. I'm really thinking about what drives you. I do this and it drives me. I literally, and I'm sorry to say this because it will sound really harsh for some people. I don't see myself as going to work anymore. I am privileged, lucky to be able to do what I want to do. You can do the same thing, but what you have to let go of is who you are in your past, but also here comes another what perceived as negative. You know, when you start on a new journey, when I started on this, um, I didn't know how I was going to make it work. I didn't know where there was a podcasting studio. I didn't know how I was going to fund that. I didn't know how I was going to get speaking gigs. I didn't know how to write a book, but I knew how I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to do it, and I knew it was something inside me that I wanted to do. And why did I want to do it? Because I had a purpose. The purpose was I found a way through some real challenging times. I now look back at the universe put me through that to give me a story, the strength to now go out and help other people who I would hope don't go to the depths that I did, but I can help people along their way and share my thoughts, my views, my learnings, my passion to help other people find a great journey. And by letting go of who they currently are today, letting go of those past memories, letting go of lots of challenges, and really grasping the future and moving forwards. So letting go sounds easy. It's not. Sounds a little bit negative. It's not. You have to find a way. You have to work really hard on who you are and find your own purpose. So to let go, you've got to find a purpose. You've got to let something go, but then you've got to be drawn to something new. I was drawn to there will be something out there in your life that you are drawn to. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because if whatever you want to do, there will be somebody doing it. Chances are somebody else is doing it and making a success out of it and making a happy life out of it. So there is a way. There are lots of people do what I do. So therefore, I know there's a way of doing it, and I knew I wanted to do it. So I had to find my way. I had to let go of my past, let go of my fears, let go of my worry about what other people would say to me, and I had to move forward. And that's what I've done. And I thoroughly enjoy doing it now. And that's what this is all about, is people can look back at me, and somebody said to me they enjoyed the content I did because you still are vulnerable, Cliff. Absolutely. No hiding from that from me. I am positive most days. I am not positive 24 hours a day. Of course I'm not. Anybody who tells you they're positive 24 hours a day, I'm afraid is leading you, they're not. Nobody is. But I know how to control when I can see a negative moment coming, or control a challenge, or control something that's really hard. And I can spin that really quickly into getting back control and moving forward again, because I've let go. Because I've now got control of where I'm going and who I am, and I've got a purpose. I've got a real purpose. There are still people. I know as we build the podcast and we see it, I wrote a book and we got some comments. As we build the podcast, we'll get some comments. As we do more social media content, we will get some comments. Comments that probably aren't very positive. Comments that are from people who just want to be negative. Comments from people who just don't like what I do. That can't define me. I have to let that go. I can't define me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I am truly passionate about. And I know by the feedback I get, there are more people out there who are watching my content over and over again who are finding it really good, beneficial, useful, positive, learning, excellent. There will be some people who just don't like it. That's okay. I can't hold on to that. And you want to go and do something in your life. You want to change your diet. You want to get fit. You want to change your job. You want to go and live in a different country. There will be people out there, and often the ones closest to you, who will say, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Because they don't want to let go of you. Because they like you, who you are, for all sorts of reasons. Lots of people around you will love you. But also, if you are all in the same circle, they don't want somebody breaking out of that circle, because that makes them feel uncomfortable. Sorry, it's real. It does. If you go on and achieve something and you go on and be super successful, there will be people around you who don't like that. They still love you, but you will put them in a challenge, because they will still love you, but they will resent you a little bit because you're going on. And it's really hard to let that go, let those people go, let those situations go. But you've just got to, if you want to do it. So it goes right back to the start of what I was saying. Letting go can't be seen as a negative, but there's a lot of motivational self-help stuff out there that gives you the picture that it's all positive. It can be, but it's hard. I often say that in my book. The future is really good. The future potential is endless, but don't let anybody tell you it's easy, because it's not. Because easy is average. Easy is just carrying on as normal. Easy is just accepting. You can do that if you wish, but if you want to evolve, if you want to change, if you want to find more, it's difficult at times, and you have to let go. So I hope that comes across positive, but at the same time realistic, because that's how I try and be about my own self-development, about overcoming things. You can be positive, but you have to be realistic. You have to then create a plan to drive you forwards. And the fun, the enjoyment, the passion comes every day. It will come. And it's worth it, but you've also got to accept that it's a journey. Hope you enjoyed that. Once again, thank you very much. Cliff Sewell, The Magical Mindset. Thank you for listening to the Magical Mindset podcast. Please subscribe, leave a review, share around your network. I'm Cliff Sewell. See you next time.